Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
We are back with our yoga expert, Nancy Volante. She's actually an expert in many things as well, from meditation to astrology, to restorative yoga, and so much more. We are here to talk more about how she's here to help your mind, body, and soul with her company, Imagine Yoga. ImagineYoga.space is the website, and we welcome you back to the show.
Thank you, Jill. You're so generous.
No, you are so kind. Pleasure to have you back here from beautiful. Where are you located again?
I am located in Ridgefield, Connecticut.
Perfect.
Just over the border of New York State, and lovely little town. And and that's where my studio kind of landed. I'm going on my 5th year, so I'm very grateful. And worked in New York City for many years, and now I'm here.
Don't miss that, do you?
I don't. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. I don't miss the commute.
Exactly. That's what I meant. For people not understanding, I'm a Long Island girl, so 45 minutes without traffic. With traffic, it could be 2-3 hours. It's just.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, pleasure to have you here. I know we're going to talk
Thank
a little
you.
about body affirming language in a yoga class for today. And anything else you want to share before we do begin that conversation?
No, what I want to say about it, that we're going to take it from 2 perspectives. So from the perspective of the yoga teacher in building community and teaching the class, and the perspective of a student or community member or not looking for a yoga class, what to look for in a yoga class that maybe you resonate with, and then from the teacher's perspective. So it's so important how we communicate to people, right? Because it either goes really well or it doesn't. You can trigger people very easily. I know I've been triggered by things that people have said, and they don't really even mean it, right? Mm-hmm. It's just our connection. So now, as yoga teachers, if we are really mindful how we're communicating with people and taking people's circumstances into account. Now, we don't know what actually goes on, but we have to take into account when somebody walks into the studio to take a class, what have they been through? Has there been trauma? Has there been any kind of dis-ease? Now, people might tell you this, but most often they won't. What they will tell you is when a teacher asks, do I need to be aware of anything that you're healing? That's what I say as far as the body goes. So maybe it's a knee, maybe it's a shoulder, right? And then we don't get into this, heavy kind of stuff, but in the back of the teacher's mind, with this importance of body affirming language, we begin to have a privilege. Right? We're privileged in a sense that we guide individuals through a movement experience. And not everybody is comfortable in their bodies. A lot of times it takes people a long time to come to a class, whether it's dance, any kind of dance, any kind of exercise, Pilates, aerobic, yoga, because of their body image.
Yeah.
Right, Jill, that's what I want to talk about first and foremost is the body image. I know, and let me just bring it back personally, because I'm human as well. When I was dancing, I danced professionally for 15 years, and it was always about body image, right? We looked as dancers in the mirror every single day for 8 hours. So for me, and I was always into therapeutic aspects of movement and teaching. So I would always look in the mirror, but it would get distorted. Oh, what do I really look like? Oh, should I look like this?
Yeah.
Should I look like that? Should I be the same? All these kind of do's and don'ts that we all put on ourselves that maybe society, right? Like we all stand at the grocery store and look at those magazines.
Yeah.
Right, Jill?
Totally.
So, are we supposed to be really thin? But now full women are beginning to model, and it's
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah,
It is
absolutely.
so beautiful to see different body shapes because that's what inspires us on some level, right?
Mhm.
You could be a full-bodied woman or man and be the most beautiful dancer, the most beautiful yogi, the most beautiful athlete in a way that, brings grace into your life. Like, what do you think about body image when I
Well,
talk about
it's
that?
just funny you said that because I watched a documentary on Netflix the other night on Taylor Swift, and I
Oh,
remember she was went through a stage. She
yeah,
was super skinny. People were criticizing her about her weight, and now she's filled out a little. And she talked about how back then she's like I didn't eat. She's like I didn't even realize it, but I obviously had a problem because I thought everyone wanted me to be a certain way because no, there it is. It's in the papers. It's in the magazines. Taylor Swift looking pregnant. Taylor Swift looking fat,
yeah,
the pressure of hearing it and society judging you all the time. And then I started watching the Lady Gaga one. I didn't get to that too. But all
yeah,
this pressure celebrities
yeah,
face that we don't, it's just it's sad that they are affected too. They're not they're not immune to
that's
um
right.
feelings like we think they might be because they have everything. No, they don't. And
Yeah.
but body image, I was shocked. I'm like, Taylor Swift, like you just think someone has it all, and they're like, oh my gosh, and she had body issues, like real, like yes, this is a true thing. um but I
Yeah.
remember a few years ago, I think it was CVS was the first pharmacy to stop having products that have people that are like retouched and photoshopped. I don't know if like from
Oh,
the hair dye bottles to the or something like that, but I think that's a great
like,
thing because it's showing such a false image, everyone looking perfect all the time, like
yeah.
and then you have social media, it's doing the same for our children right now.
Exactly. And
Mhm.
I love what you say, like a false, what was it you used? False.
False, what did I say?
What did you say? I loved it.
Um,
Um,
they're
well,
not
just a
immune to
false,
it.
well, just a false impression of
Mm-hmm.
yourself, what you have to be.
Yeah.
So the body image is so important. So the body language, when
Yeah.
we're working with people as teachers, and when people are coming in, I'm going to go back and forth, student, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
This is, we want to embody this language.
Yeah.
Now, what I'm going to say is it has two things, because I am all about alignment is very important in the body.
Okay.
And the alignment is different for everybody because our bones are different, our
Mm-hmm.
shape is different. So you bring them, I'm going to say, biological or scientific aspects of musculoskeletal aspects into the class because that's just
Mm-hmm.
for safety. And then bringing in this kind of affirming body language so people can all of a sudden maybe go, or maybe they start to think, oh my God, this is what I'm feeling, not comfortable, but how can I readjust myself? There's so many things that can happen. So from the teacher's perspective, creating a safe place to explore and unfold for your students, little by little, every class, every minute is one step at a time. The other thing is recognizing sensation. The teacher wants to bring that into the class. So instead of thinking, oh my God, I'm not doing this right, my body feels weird, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty, you're thinking, the teacher's rearranging the mindset in a very compassionate way to bring your attention to, are you feeling any sensations? What are the sensations? Are sensations are different for everybody. It's a little, the stretching sensation, maybe a little,
Mm-hmm.
sensation in your organs, maybe a movement in your digestive system. The other thing is to feel the breath. So the teacher brings that back all the time. How are we feeling our breath? Are we breathing? Are you holding your breath? Just to ask those questions. And somehow validating that it's okay to take up space. A lot of times, and I've done this myself, when I come into a situation, I'll shrink. I won't take up space. I'll go back, right? Because we're not feeling maybe worthy enough or we're not feeling confident enough, right? So being able to take up space on your mat with those boundaries is really beautiful. And then seeking inner quiet. And a teacher can do that, and we'll go over this again, but a teacher does that by pausing. I found this the hardest thing. When I first started teaching, I'd be like, da, 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 do this, do that, da, 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 da. And, after after years went on, even now, I have to learn to pause.
Mhm.
So, because the brain can only take in so much, right, Joe? I
Yeah.
don't, like, do you take classes outside of your home by any chance? I
No,
don't
I
think you have
do
time.
nothing
You don't
outside
have
of my home.
time.
I don't. Yeah,
You
my
don't
old life,
have
I
time.
used to. I don't. Yeah, one day
You
I'll
got
get
two
back
little
to it.
boys.
Yeah, exactly. They're 6 and 8, so it's every night is a sport for them, and then
Yeah, exactly. I
activity
did
and
that.
religion, and then the
Yes.
soccer. We had 4 soccer games this
Yeah,
weekend. It's just tonight soccer
I
practice.
know.
Oh, it's religion. Yeah, baseball starting in next week. Yeah, so no,
So you're doing a different kind of taking up space. You're taking
yes,
up space,
yes,
being a mom and being really engaged in that, and you're
yeah.
moving. So I think that's really beautiful. Just
Thank you.
and with that, you could even think of yoga. Oh, I'm doing this, but I'm going to breathe for a second. I'm going to be
Mhm.
present
Yeah.
as I watch that soccer game, right?
Mhm.
My daughter danced, my son did sports up way even through college. And it was stressful a little bit
Yeah.
watching your kid out there play. And sometimes the parents get a little crazy. So it's nice to take a breath wherever you are in your day, taking up space. So getting back to the yoga, again, we're privileged to teach people, and we're thinking and asking people to do all these things. And we're also doing shapes. While we're thinking of all these things, we're making shapes with our body.
Mhm.
We're strengthening. It's a
Mhm.
multitasking journey doing exercise and movement, whatever it is. Today it's yoga because that's what I'm bringing forth. But people don't, again, always feel comfortable. So
Yeah.
what happens when they don't feel comfortable?
Mm.
Can you read the body language? I can read a person when a person comes into class and they're not comfortable at all. I can see it on their face. It's
Mhm.
like, their mind and body are so disconnected, and you have to be so gentle with that person.
Mhm.
So for me, when I have a person that's in the studio that is going through that, I don't give any corrections because I don't want them to think, oh, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not perfect, right? I don't give any corrections. I say things like, just take a breath in, and then I'll go over to them. Are you okay? Can I do anything to make you comfortable? And they're like, no, no, it's fine. And maybe that even triggers something. You have to be very careful. It's a tricky road when you have 10, some folks have 30 people in a class, right? How do you manage all that? You can't manage it 100%, but having this in your mind, in your mindset as a teacher, having this in your toolbox as a student,
Mhm.
being aware of, okay, am I comfortable here? Maybe I'm not comfortable right away, but is it me or is it the teacher? Can I try it one more time? Maybe
Yeah.
you come back again. So we have these inner dialogues with ourselves why we're taking class. I mean, it's how we live life. Being human is so complex.
Yeah.
It's really hard just to be, in the moment and not think of anything else. You
Mm.
know, um, do you have any like, how do you do that, Jill? Like, how do you stay present with all these other things going on
I
can bring
kind
you back to
I
class?
kind of honestly just don't have a choice. I
Yeah.
don't have a choice. I just put my kids first, and I do so
Well, that's
much.
it.
It's yeah. And so they come first, so everything revolves around them. And I know you're
Yeah.
supposed to put yourself first and self-care, but the truth is that doesn't happen as much. That's why my nails haven't been done since December. I
I
haven't had a
love that.
pedicure since December, but then I also had a broken foot. So, but
Yeah.
still, like last time, mommy doesn't get her hair done anymore. I don't, yeah. So I feel
And you
like
look great.
oh, thanks. Thanks. I have hair extensions I put in every now and then. Makes me feel more glamorous. Do little things here and there, but it's more about
That's
them.
okay. And you know what? I love that honesty. I do. If we could be more authentic in why our self-care takes and we're going off topic for a little bit, but I love it. Why our self-care takes these different routes
Yep.
at different points in our life.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's really interesting. And I really think that is a really great conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, the littlest things? But you're still like, I remember last week when we talked, you had said something, Jill, that you get up in the morning sometimes before your kids to have your coffee.
Yeah, and that's the that's the one and only time I could.
But that's a
My
beautiful,
meditation. That's mine.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why does it have to be in our Western world? Why does it have to be that we put so much pressure on ourselves? Like Taylor Swift. By the way, my daughter saw that documentary.
Oh, okay. So
She
you're
loved
familiar
it.
with it. Yep.
I gotta
Mm-hmm.
watch it. But we put so much pressure on ourselves
Mm-hmm.
to be what the outside world has asked of us.
Mm-hmm.
But how do we ask ourselves? How do I feel today? How do I feel in my body that I was born with? We can make changes. We certainly can.
Yeah.
But when they get so drastic and out of the realm of our inner awareness, that's when we start getting into trouble sometimes with
Yeah.
eating disorders, whatever trauma, and we've all had it. Our bodies, there's a book called The Body Keeps the Score.
Oh, never heard of it. Okay.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book. And
Okay.
it's true. The body never forgets. It's all stored in there in our cells somewhere, but it can be unraveled to come up into consciousness, to be
Mm-hmm.
transformed into a better mindset, a healthier
Mm-hmm.
mindset for our body. So, what happens when we are outside of ourselves? We become more concerned. I have this written down. We become more concerned or familiar with controlling or improving our bodies than with affirming and honoring them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge difference. And we've all been through it. I have. You're thinking, Jill. I know. I want to hear what you're thinking.
You got me thinking about so much. I just feel like I wish I had more time
I know.
in my day. And like work is my fun. And my work is like,
Yeah.
I'm trying to to be honest, one of my, yeah, work is my, I'm sorry, I'm on a tangent, but I'm thinking about that. And I'm also thinking
Please.
about body image. I'm thinking about everything because now summer's coming and it's like we're going on
Yes.
vacation next month. And I'm like, I was at the doctor. I'm like, I gained, my 8-pound winter weight. What do I do? And
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry. I'm just
But
thinking,
this is what we
but
all do. So what
not
Jill
alone.
say
I
that
said I'm not alone, clearly.
you're not alone.
Yeah.
We all do that. Now, I'm going to say something. My daughter hopefully won't be mad at me, but my daughter is not overweight by any means, but she's getting married in August.
Nice.
Yes.
Congrats.
So of course
Exciting.
she's saying, I got to lose that 5 pounds. I got to do, because she is presenting herself
Wow.
to the public, right? To family. So what I want to say about that is, and I'm telling her, you look fine, if you want to lose 5 pounds here and there for something, or if you do, that's not a big thing, right?
Okay.
That's about being aware of how you feel, how you want to look, how you want to look, not how society tells us how to look. I think that's a big difference. And I
Yeah.
think we've all traveled back and forth between those two relationships of, I want to look like that, but I look like this, or, it's big. So it's about renewing your relationship with your mind, body, and soul, where you are in your journey of life. Listen, if you're going on a vacation and you want to lose 5 pounds, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're thinking every day, I got to lose 10 pounds in order to be this way, that becomes a different.
That's obsessive.
Yes. There you go, Jill.
Yeah.
That becomes a little bit more obsessive. So with that said, with the body image, I think it's just really important to love yourself. It's really hard to love ourselves. It is. But I want to say this to me and to Jill and to the viewers. Take the journey towards that. However it happens, we might have to go through why we don't love ourselves first, but that's the transformation, that's the duality, and that's the healing.
Yeah.
So with that said about body language, I have 4 things that you want to look at, what you want to maybe bring into your teaching practice, and what you want to look at if you're looking for a yoga studio to be part of as a community member and a practitioner. So you want to ask these questions sometimes. So it's inquiry, being curious. Allow your students to start being curious about their body, like maybe, where do you feel the stretch? What happens if you shift your body in this way? Do you feel a sensation? So you can, I ask these questions during class. Oh, can you shift your hips to the right? And then it becomes, wow, that really feels different. Instead of, okay, your hips need to be this way, they need to be parallel, and that's valid too. So you're shifting back and forth. So what happens is these questions draw people back to the attention of their body-mind connection. The second one is neutral observation. What do you notice? What are you observing when you're breathing? What are you observing when we're holding a pose in a balance pose? Check in with your breath. Check in with your body. Check in with the mantra for me, because I bring mantra into the class. Check in with the moon, because I create the moon, whatever the moon is, I bring that energy in. So Sunday the moon was in Virgo. Oh, check into where you're feeling the connection and the disconnection, because Virgo is about the mind-body connection. That's a little bit of what that archetype is about. A little bit of astrology there. The third one is purposeful pause and silence on the teacher's part. Reel it in a little bit. Let that pause and silence empower your students to feel, think, and observe. Hard for me because I like to talk. The fourth one is permission for comfort. Sometimes we don't give ourselves permission to just totally relax, right? To totally be in comfort where we're at in a pose, in class, around people, with a teacher giving guidance.
Yeah.
So those are the 4 embodiment of bringing
Pillars,
that body affirming language. I'm sorry, Jill, I didn't hear you.
Pillars. I'm trying to think of the word too. Pillars. That's
Thank
a good
you.
one.
Oh, I love that. See, it's so good to have another partner here. Those 4 pillars. I love that. And I'm going to pause for a second. So as we go through these 4 pillars, we're hopefully shifting people's observations of themselves and bringing something more positive into their lives. So that is that body firming. And it's so interesting. I'm just going to shift for a little bit. I know we have a couple more minutes. The full moon, I'm going to shift a little bit to astrology because I bring it all in, okay?
Of course.
So this full moon, which will be happening on April 6th, we're kind of feeling it now, will be in Libra. Libra, the archetype is, and I'm bringing this in, it just fits so well into this, is the scales, okay?
Yeah.
So if you look up the symbol of Libra, it's the scale.
Those scales.
It does this, right? So what Libra is doing, among many things, but I'm just going to bring this in, is finding balance within the relationship with yourself, mind, body, soul, and our connection today, that mind, that body image within a yoga class, and how you bring that relationship to others. So how do we bring a relationship to others, like that balance of relationship to others when we're in a class? Can we stay focused within ourselves, but know that there's other people out there in that class that we can learn from? Maybe we can notice what they're doing and take it in as a way to balance from within. So when you're feeling this full moon, if you do, however you do, think of it as a balancing or a calling to balance from within. So inside out. So once you do that, then you can balance your other relationships, right? That you make contact with throughout the day.
True.
So with that, the mantra maybe today, let's think of it as balance. So let's just close our eyes for a moment. Place your feet on the ground. Feel the body shape. If you're sitting, if you're lying, if you're drinking your coffee, whatever the viewers are doing, just take a moment to pause and just take a breath in through your nostrils, the belly, the rib cage, chest, and then exhale through your mouth with the sound of, and bring that affirmation, that mantra, I am balancing, however that is for you. So I am balancing. One more breath in. Exhale. Feel your seat or your body if you're lying down. Feel your seat on the chair or the floor. Feel your body on the floor. And then just think of balancing. It's okay to balance. It's okay to be out of balance, right?
True.
It is, because that's how we learn. And we live in duality, so it's always gonna navigate back and forth for cultivating knowledge and wisdom and healing for all of us.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Nancy. Imagine Yoga, tell us how we can reach out to you, please.
Yep, you could reach out to us by our website. Come look at our website at imagineyoga.space. And you can also reach me at nancy@imagineyoga.space, my email. We're on Instagram, and you can give me a call at 203-770-8938.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Pleasure always having you here. And,
Oh my God, it's such a pleasure.
your
Have a
sense
beautiful
of serenity. Calmness.
Do you feel it? Because I
Thank
can
you.
see it in your face.
Always. Thank you. I like you. I mean,
I like you too. And
you're
it's
a
such
good person, and I love
You know what?
speaking with you.
Oh, thank you. And think about that moon in Libra. Here, Jill and we're balancing back and forth. I'm talking about my experience. She's talking about hers. And then we come together in collaboration. And how beautiful is that? That's what this full moon can be about.
Oh my gosh, you must be so helpful to your daughter when it comes to all this, the grounding and the stress of a wedding. I could only imagine.
And my son too.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
You know what? The stress of the wedding, she's been so great because she's an artist as well. So I've just kind of let her. I found the place and I'm doing the food because I'm Italian. Not that only Italians like food, but I just am bringing that up. So it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure doing that with her.
We'll talk soon. Thank you so much, Nancy. Have a fantastic week.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.